Okay, the latest Liverpool transfer news. Two big names to discuss today. Bruno Fernandes and Ousmane Dembelle from Barcelona, both linked to Liverpool. Now, before we start, just wanted to say a quick thank you. We started the channel just over 2 months ago and we went over 500 subscribers overnight. So thank you all for your support. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe below. I appreciate all the support you give. Now, we'll first start with Ousmane Dembelle. It's a real interesting one, this. He's obviously Barcelona winger forward, 22 years old. He was signed by Barcelona a couple of years ago. Big fee, £97 million out of the Bundesliga. Now, he's sort of linked himself to Liverpool, so the press are reporting. There's rumours that he doesn't quite fit in at Barcelona, doesn't quite give them what they're looking for. Now, we'll have a quick look at him. He's a really exciting player. He's fast, he's quick, he can play left, he can play right, he can go down either flank. He had a terrific season in the Bundesliga before he went to Barcelona, and that sparked everyone's interest because he was 20 years old and he was double figures goals and lots of assists, dazzling skill. He's got great feet, and everyone was classing him as the next wonder kid. Went to Barcelona. And like I say, hasn't quite just fitted in and lived up to his name. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. You can say a little bit harsh, maybe, young lad. One of the issues was his first season in the 17-18 season had a lot of niggling injuries. He had hamstring injuries, some muscle torn injuries, and that can be a little bit concerning for anybody signing him. But really, that first season he didn't get a good run, and that can hinder a player. Big transfer move, big money, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you have a stop-start season in the first season. Second season, he's done a bit better, but I think about 14 goals, some good assists. But again, not quite living up to that standard that Barcelona wanted. And I suppose you could say he's been held responsible for what some see as Barcelona's failure last year. Now, I think there's lots of things around that. Luis Suarez has lost a yard in pace. Messi is more and more relied on in that team, and teams know that if they can stop him now, they haven't got people like Iniesta. Coutinho hasn't quite lived up to the mark, so it could be a little bit unfair on Dembele to start putting it at him. But obviously he's put himself out there, I think, in the press to sort of say, look, I'm interested and I like Liverpool and I think I could be a good fit for them. Now, it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are on him. Obviously, Liverpool, they've got a terrific front three there. Lots of goals in that front three. Is he good enough to displace one of those three? Is he going to put up with coming off the bench as support cover for the first year? And that's something that Klopp will look into. Is he the sort of player that will act as a support role maybe for the first year or two? Like I say, blistering pace. I think he would add something to Liverpool in terms of the assists he would give. He's not going to give the same goals, I don't think, as Firmino, Mane and Salah do. But I think in terms of assists, he could do. He will also, because he plays out on those flanks, he will draw defenders towards him. So it will create space for other people. Now, a couple of downsides to him. We've mentioned the niggling injuries he's had. Now, for a young lad, that's a little bit concerning. The last thing you want to do is be spending big money and have somebody that's continually picking up injuries. So that's a little doubt. The other thing is there's rumours that he hasn't quite integrated with the players at Barcelona. There's a little bit of a barrier between them. I think personality-wise, he's can be seen as a little bit arrogant, a little bit troublesome. At times, he can be frustrating on the ball. If you watch him, he's the sort of player that at times he could keep it a little bit simpler. He uses his pace, he uses his skill. He can make a fullback look a real idiot and get past them. But he has this tendency to want to come back and beat them again and again and again and again before he puts the ball in. And as a centre forward, that could be very frustrating at times. there's rumours he's a bit of a party animal, but then, you know, a 22-year-old on the sort of money he is, you've got to expect that. You know, I don't know what to make of him. I think he's a superb player, absolutely brilliant. I think he would bring something to Liverpool that they haven't got. Would he be happy to be the fourth player, supporting role up front? I don't know. I think the price tag is far too high. Barcelona, they've made a few big investments. They've done some big sales and some big investments over the last 2 or 3 years, and it hasn't quite worked for them. And they've got a problem over the next 2 or 3 years. They've got some big signings that aren't quite integrating, and they've got some big salary bills they're paying there. And, you know, it's finding clubs that have got the financial power to offload them if they don't want them. So I would suggest, yeah, it'd be a great signing for Liverpool, but not at that sort of money. Now, the next one we're going to look at is Bruno Fernandes. I think he's a superb player. We saw him recently in the Nations League, and, you know, he's a class act in midfield. He really was. And he's got quite an interesting pass. You know, Liverpool are reported in the press as actually tabling a 40 million bid for him. Now, whether that's there just to generate other bids from other clubs, I don't know. One would suggest I'm a little bit sceptical of 40 million bid for him. I think he's got an exit clause of about 70 million there. So I'm not too sure. And talk is that it would need nearer 70 million for Sporting Lisbon to let him go. But he's an excellent player. He sort of came through the Boa Vista Youth Academy, and at 17 he transferred into the Italian League, had a year with a club in the third tier of the Italian League, then moved to the first tier, the Serie A of the Italian League with, I think it was Udinese, and then had a year, the following year, loaned out to Sampdoria in Serie A Italian League. So I quite like players that have sort of grafted at a lower level, worked themselves up through. And although he didn't have startling figures, you know, he produced a handful of goals and assists. He's learning his craft. Sporting Lisbon picked him up a couple of years ago, and he's had really 2 cracking seasons with Sporting Lisbon. I mean, I'll just run through his stats. In the 17-18 season, 56 appearances, 16 goals, 20 assists. In the 18-19 season, 53 appearances, 32 goals, 18 assists. So he's really, you know, come to the fore in the last 2 years. He's fairly new into the international setup. Although everybody was raving about him in the Nations League, he's still pretty new into the international setup. I think he's played about 11 games, only 1 goal. So, you know, he's still growing as a player. But you can see, you watch him play, he's the sort of player that creates space in the penalty area. He's very clever on his passing. He picks out players. He's one of those players, again, that sees passes, sees runs that other players don't see. I think he's a terrific signing. Everybody's interested in him. Tottenham, you know, they're fearing the loss of Eriksen. He would be, you know, a great replacement there. Even Man City are rumoured for him. Now, I don't think Man City are really looking for an attacking midfielder, but, you know, at the right price, a player of his quality, I'm sure they're looking at him and that. So he's got a whole host of options. Like I say, I think it'll take nearer that 60, 70 million to get him. He's the right age, 24 years old. You know, I mean, Klopp loves signing those players sort of 23, 24, 25. You know, I think at Tottenham, Levy has said, I want players, you know, 22, 23, 24. And they've got that, you know, these chairmen have got their eye on the future in terms of, you know, at some point their head will be turned and want to go back into one of the big European clubs. And, you know, if they have them for 4 or 5 years and they sell them on at 28, 29, 30, there's still some money there in the deal. So it's one of these players that works all round. I think he's well worth getting. Interested to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. And thank you again for your support, and thanks for watching.